Hey y'all, welcome back to Mom Ballz.
We're back.
Episode 2. We're so excited. Why do we have the same clothes on?
Because we're doing 2 in 1.
We're supposed to change.
Girls,
it's okay.
She gonna make me jump in the ocean.
Turn it off and start again.
No, we're not. No. Can y'all please tell her?
It's the same day. Like, it's literally the same day.
All right. Wait, now she messed up the... No, can you start over for me?
Absolutely not. That's exactly what you get.
So today,
we're going to edit out.
Welcome
Welcome to Mom Ballz, guys.
We're talking about how our kids got started in sports.
Yes, because this is a sports podcast.
And we are
sports moms.
And we go by the name of
Mom Ballz.
Yeah.
Isn't that a cool name?
Y'all like that name?
I like it. My daughter liked it. My daughter's hip
Mom
too. She knows what's
Ballz.
Right.
Y'all know what that means? Because we got balls.
We got balls. And our kids have basketball and
men.
football. That's right.
They got balls, but we got a little bit. Balls.
Right, you should say our logo. No, what that look like?
Yeah, that comes out on fire.
Y'all, and the men gonna be listening to us.
Anyway, down the road we are gonna have guest speakers, and it's gonna include our husbands because they pretty much have a little more expertise than we do as far as like the sports and the technicalities of it. We're giving you the real stats.
But not just
we're giving you
not just the husbands, y'all. We're gonna have other friends on
with
their kids that have D1
Absolutely.
scholarships.
Our kids are gonna be guests. That's
our
gonna
kids
be exciting.
gonna be guests.
Get excited about that.
That's gonna be fun.
But we have to make them talk.
Yeah.
They'll talk.
They'll text.
We'll give them something to
They'll
talk.
text.
Yeah.
We're gonna make
it's okay. It's all right.
They already was like, think we corny, so
whatever.
But
My
whatever.
son's excited about it, and he's playing at a really big college, and I'm sure your daughter will be along with it too. Your daughter's Chance will too. We'll get him on board.
Yeah, we'll see.
Actually, Ben is excited.
Hey, we put our foot down.
I'm excited.
We say
Exactly, because we moms.
That's right.
All the work we put
and
in.
we have Mom Ballz.
Yeah.
All right. So, who wants to start with how their kid got started?
I'll start.
Okay, go.
Robert got two to talk about.
Two to talk about. That's right.
But the
You gonna break
thing
them
is,
up.
they're the dynamic duo, though.
Oh
Then
yeah,
you
that's
still
true.
start
So
them-
go ahead.
And that's
them
the
off.
interesting thing about Jada and Layla, because, well, first Gary, we didn't have any boys, so his thing was these girls got to play sports, and I was like, we need to dance, because our oldest daughter Kayla, she was in gymnastics. I mean, she was at one time second in the state for gymnastics. So
Yeah, when I met her, Kayla was doing gymnastics.
right, and now she's 5'11". Had we known then what we know now, she'd have played basketball, like on the real.
Right?
But
Can Kayla shoot a 3?
no.
She's not doing bad for herself.
She
though.
did not cultivate basketball.
She's not doing bad for herself. Don't hate.
Right.
No, she's good in the fashion world.
She could look good at a little more than that. But
Yeah, we talked about KK.
we'll talk about KK later.
But so Gary was determined to have the girls play sports. So we used to take them to the driving range where they would, putt or whatever. And he was like, oh, they have such a great swing. But Jada she was watching football with him. And she used to watch Michael Vick. And she would run. Oh, so she's like football. But she would run down the hallway. And she was like, Dad, throw me the ball. So he would throw pretend ball. And she would catch it. And then she would run.
How old was she?
Ooh, she was young. She was like, because when she started basketball, she was 3.
Oh, that's so cute.
So it was around like age 2.
Okay.
So when she started, they both started with NJB, which is just, local basketball. And they played on the boys team. She was, actually, no, I got that wrong. Jada was 4, Layla was 3. So we took them to NJB and they played with the boys, and Jada was all about it, like right away. She was like, she had good handball coordination or eye-hand coordination. She understood the game. I mean, at such an early age. And Layla was more like, okay,
I'll go along.
Because
You're my bestie.
Yeah. And then we were like, well, if Jada's here, time-wise, you need to be here too.
Yeah.
So they started playing with the boys at NJB, and they just did amazing things, and it was a lot of fun watching them. Girls are a lot more scrappy than boys to me in basketball. I don't know, Latanis, what you think, because Chance plays, but the girls were scrappy, and the boys didn't want to touch them because they were so little.
Yeah.
But they dominated at NJB. So that's how they got their start.
Do you have any like cute memories of like their first game or something silly that happened or just adorable? Like I love thinking about the adorable stuff that they did when they were little. They were so little when they all started playing.
Layla, the funniest thing to me wasn't necessarily NJB. It was when we transitioned from NJB to travel ball. And she was so funny because Layla has always had heart. She's going to get out there and give 150%. She's going to foul you, but she's going to give 100%, and she's not going to leave anything out. She's going to put it all on the court. Jada was more skill. Like, everything had to be precise. So when we said we were going to start playing travel ball, Layla says, Mom, I'm so glad we're going to play travel ball because I travel a lot. I was like, baby, that's the wrong. It's not that kind of travel ball. So that was the cutest thing.
Oh, that's so cute. Yeah. And she was, and they were 5 and 6, or at this time, or
that was
how old could they be when they started playing?
They've always played up. So when Jada started, she was only 4. You were supposed to be 5, but they let her play.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. They let her play, and then because they were sisters, because they were sisters, they let them play together.
All right. That scrappiness paid off. They were like, we need them on the team right now.
Right.
That's adorable. I love it. Okay. So Jada is already in college, and Layla's going to be going to college. Right. For our readers. Our viewers. Yeah. So we'll talk to you guys more in depth about who our children are later, but we're starting from the beginning because we think it's important that you guys kind of we receive it in layers. Yeah, we're receiving in layers. So do you want us to go next?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Chance started at around 8, but he didn't start with basketball. He started with track.
Yes.
Well, really, he started with tennis. And so I must say, he's just an all-around athlete. The tennis coach that we had him with, he was doing private lessons, and he was like, man, he's good. We was like, me and Ben looked at each other like, really? And the trainer used to teach Arthur Ashe, and it was right there at La Sierra University. And he was like, man, he said he doing things at this age that half the kids in this country not doing. And we was like, okay, we got to find the money to keep this thing going because he was not cheap. So then Chance got bored with that. He was like, I'm done with this. It was hot out there on the court. So then he moved to track, and he ended up being good at that. His 3rd race, he won the JOs. And he was so good that the mayor of Riverside paid for his JO trip. I got that picture too. We're going to have to put that in here. But they wrote him up in the press enterprise and with his little his medal that he won. And he was so excited. So Chance actually went to JOs 3 times.
I remember that.
He was literally beating people up the hill.
I remember that.
He was beating high school kids up the hill. And this hill is like brutal. It's where he used to train. Yeah. But that hill came in handy.
It's a mile.
It's a mile, straight up. But that hill came in handy because he was so fast on the basketball court. So anyway, what happened was he was 8 and he was training every day. And I remember thinking, like, he's only 8. And we was training every day. He was lifting weights. I was like, he's 8. Like, what are we doing? And, I'm from Detroit. In Detroit, we was worried about our hair and,
nails.
Get nails, I didn't play sports. I wish I would now. I want to go back to college. But what happened was he wanted to play basketball. And I knew that I was going to take over because his dad went to college on a scholarship for basketball. And I was like, I was mad. I was like, because they started running concurrent. So one had to give. And I remember that's when he started basketball. So we started basketball. We actually were at the YMCA because Ben and I used to go spin there. And we seen these kids coming out. And this guy, he was like, we need your son. We was like, what? So we met this guy and he ended up playing on that team. So he started at 8. Chance still have some of his longtime friends from that league. And the one memory I have of him playing basketball was Chance he couldn't see. He has my vision. And he used to wear glasses on the court. And I remember one time his glasses flew off. And he was like...
You hit him with a ball in the face?
I think so. Or somebody hand hit him and glasses went flying. They used to fog up all the time. So my baby be out there doing like this.
Wow.
And then he had goggles. So we went from glasses to goggles. And it was so cute because they used to call him Goggles. And,
I remember that.
Yeah, and they used to fog up, so he used to, he had a break, he would lift them up so he could wipe off the fog. Aww. That was hilarious. But and then eventually he switched out to contacts. But we told him, we was like, if you had kept goggles on, that would be your name today. Because people used to be like, because he got a mean 3. So they used to be like, yo, watch the kid with the goggles. That's my memory of him starting goggles.
Great. That's great. I love it. Okay, so My story, Jaden, first of all, we're going to backtrack a little bit. My husband played football in youth football, and then he played in college. He played through high school, and then he played in college. And then he became a coach. Mm-hmm. So when my husband started coaching a high school, Jaden was maybe 3, and Michaela was like 6, his older sister. And Lamar used to have to pick them up from school and take him with him to football practice at the high school. So Jaden was 3 and 4 years old when he started doing his little back pedals, because he was like watching dad, and he was watching the athletes that my husband was coaching. And he just like fell in love with the game. But he also watched his dad watch the game. My husband watches a game like he's analyzing film. So he'll watch a game and pause it. You see what he did there? So like, that's how I think my son fell in love with the game. Watching his dad coach and watching athletes do it. And so when he caught that vision, he was about 3 or 4, and Lamar started training him around 4. And by the time he was 5, he was able to do flag football. So what I love about, and it was a local team, it was like the Eastville Mustangs or something, they're not around anymore, but it was so exciting for me. And I wasn't scared because I already knew that it's a sport that my husband played, it's a tough sport, and I had no say in it at this point because the kid fell in love with the sport. So I just had to grow a pair and be ready for whatever. And so his first game, I'll never forget, he started as quarterback, but his dad trained him in like almost every position. And he started as quarterback, little 5-year-old, little thing with his flag. And I'm recording his first game, and he's like, getting ready to either throw the ball or pass the ball. I don't remember, because 5-year-olds, they don't know how to do all that. But he was like either going to pass the ball. But he saw an opening, and so I'm recording, and he starts, just like his dad always taught him, run on the outside. So he starts running. I put the phone down, and I'm running with him. I was like, damn it, I missed my son's first touchdown.
No, she recording the ground.
Yeah, I don't know. I just was so excited. But I was running next to him, and I was like, run, buddy, run. And he outran those kids. It was just so exciting to watch the little 5-year-olds. They were so stinking cute. So that's my first memory. But yeah, he played flag football, and he played flag football till he was 7, and then he went in pads. So, okay. But then you mentioned the track story. Jaden joined you guys.
He did.
And he was a little guy. I don't remember how old he was when he joined you guys.
So I want to say he came up there like little. 9 or 10.
He was little.
Lamar used to bring him over to the hill.
Yeah. But our girls didn't do it.
They called him the machine.
He did it every single day.
Yeah, your guys called.
He was beating the high school kids up. Reggie was like, we got up to the top of the hill, and Reggie was like, yo, that shit ain't normal. That ain't
talking
normal.
About Chance or
talking
Jaden?
about Chance.
Yeah.
That ain't normal. And then Jaden was doing it too. Remember, Jaden wanted to do it twice one time.
Jaden would also outrun the high school kids, and they started calling him the machine.
I would walk that.
How old were they when
he was little?
Chance was like 8, doing that 8 and 9, doing that hill. And then Jaden came, but I got a funny flag story. So this is before Chance started any of that. This is when we were living in Eastville. And we took him up there. Ben brought him up there. I forgot what the team was. And girl, Chance got on the field. Them two kids, they was like, whoop, whoop. Chance stood there crying. They was like, they snatched his flag. It was like, whoop, whoop. Ben was like, go on, we going home. Girl, that was so funny. He was like, he was like, that's what he's supposed to do. Take your flag. We was like, Lord. Football's not for him.
Well, that reminds me, Jaden played soccer. We took him to play soccer when he was like, I think he was 3. He was a baby. I remember him looking like a baby. And he stood in the middle of the field. He was like, they won't let me get the ball. He snot bubbles. And his dad was like, that's the point, son. And we were like, boys, you know, stop that car. So then the coach was like really good. And he was like, okay, we're going to show you how you're supposed to do it. He was like, everybody stop. Don't come at Jaden. He was like, all right, Jaden threw the ball in front of him. He's like, you got to kick it into the goal. And so Jaden did that. And after that, he did pretty good. But we did like one season of that because we were like, soccer's not his thing.
Yeah, Layla was always the one to say, I want to do something different. So she played a season of softball. But once you start getting to basketball, we'll talk about that a lot later. The commitment is so great. Or your chosen sport, the commitment's great. But I never wanted Layla to feel like you have to do what Jada's doing. Even though time management wise,
it made sense for y'all.
Yeah, it made sense. But I always said, if you want to do something else. So she wanted to play softball. So one season we went to a local park and she played for a season and she liked it. It wasn't like after the season was over she didn't say, oh, I want to play again. But I mean, she was decent at it. She
Yeah.
would get up to bat. I mean, she had all the gear. It took her a minute to figure out how to make contact with the ball, but she had fun. And they did a taekwondo together, which was the cutest thing.
That is cute.
Ever. Breaking boards and getting in there.
I always wanted to do that.
And I was like
Not me.
amazed at how they could do that.
And that's what we're going to talk about too, you guys. Probably another episode. We're going to talk about identifying your kids' gifts.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I know for me, I'm not one. Ben and I both. We're not. Whatever that sport is, because these sports are expensive. Whatever that sport is that you're good at, because it's not training just in season. You got to train off season. That's where you get better.
While all those other kids sitting around playing Xbox or whatever they got now. Everybody doesn't train the same, and we're going to talk about their training, and that's what set kids apart. But we didn't believe in putting them in 5 different sports. We wanted them to be great at the one.
And test out though, like what?
Yeah, test it out. Yeah,
test
like
out
Chance did the tennis, he did the track, he did, and he was good at all of them. But then we was like, make a decision.
The kid chooses. The kid
chooses.
And just like I said, I noticed that Jaden fell in love with the sport because Jaden also played a little bit of basketball in like the community league.
Yeah.
And he was all defense because that's what he actually eventually went into, his defense. And he was all defense. He played point guard. He was really good. Everybody loved Jaden playing basketball on their team. And he was really little when he did that too. He was probably 8 and 9 years old. He did that, I think, for 2 seasons. And it was just something for him to do to kind of stay in shape when football was done. And we were just trying to see what he wanted to do and what he was good at, and he did that too. He did martial arts. He did a little bit of everything. But again, going back to football, he learned how to play like multiple positions. So he's considered an athlete, I think, because he can play basketball and not just a football player, not just defense. So those things are important. Like figuring out what they like is watching them, paying attention, and we all think our kids are great, right? But at some point, we have to be honest with ourselves and say, well, is my kid really good at this?
A lot of parents aren't.
A lot of parents aren't, or they just don't see it. We just want to believe that our kids are great at everything, or we just want to encourage them and be supportive. But sometimes you do have to make that tough decision. Like, yeah, this is not your thing, but it's not your thing.
Well, yeah, I know in our house we probably became a little bit of we get called Joe Jackson a lot.
The police.
We're hard on them.
Well, when you're trying to do sports at this level, you have to be a Joe Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't be soft. And they have to be committed, and you have to be committed.
We Joes because Catherine wasn't. Yeah, so we're Joes. We're Joes.
Catherine was like, don't be too hard on them.
Yeah, so we had to be Joes too. But I'm just saying the dads are Joes, so we all Joes, huh?
We're all Joes.
We all Joes.
We did our part.
We did
our part. I remember telling Jaden one time in his ear at a basketball game, he looked like he was about to cry. I was like, you gotta suck it up and stop crying. You don't cry in sports. He was like,
right. So this episode was really just about how they got started. We got so much content. We're going to keep you guys entertained. It's exciting. We're going to talk about their journey all the way up to now, but a little bit at a time.
A little bit at a time. You don't want to give it all away.
Yeah. And then
we're creating some anticipation. So, Mom Ballz, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
It don't matter. That's going to be edited out.
Did it stop?